I forget to do that sometimes.
Hi, I'm Judy Mann. Nice to meet you, Judy Maud.
Yes, nice, happy to be here.
Okay, roll call's been
Did
done.
you put the sign in?
What?
Did you put the sign in?
I did not.
I will. Go
Okay.
ahead. Just so people know they can come in.
Yes.
We approve the minutes then?
We got the door closed, so we gotta clean the store.
We just need to make, we
We're
can do
loud,
that.
we're a
It's just we
boisterous,
need to
loud group.
Make sure people know they can come in.
Everybody else asks us.
Otherwise, customer service gets angry with
All the other
us.
people
They
ask
can hear
us to close the door.
We're too noisy.
We're a loud group.
How about
We all
you're
wanna
too
be
much
under-
fun? Let's talk about it that way.
Laughter.
That's how I prefer it, yeah.
Okay, so you wanna, somebody wanna approve the minutes?
I move
I wasn't here.
second.
And then,
Who was the first?
How can I approve it?
Marilyn.
Marilyn.
Okay, Marilyn and she, okay. Awesome.
And then we have one new member introduction.
Yes. Hello.
Hello, everyone. I'm Maud Bouchard Trost. My husband and I have been residents of Webster Groves for about 8 or 9 years now. I work for St. Louis Economic Development Partnership and Community Investment Arm. And so my professional life, I manage different federal grants right now, primarily with the EPA around brownfields. And my interest in this commission is just to get engaged with the Webster Groves community. I consider myself more of an arts consumer rather than an artist. I mostly do. My interests are in gardening and also supporting our children who are very prolific first grade and pre-kindergartner artists right now. So, yeah.
Well,
Thank
since
you so
you're
much.
on South Gore, we are too.
Yeah.
We're on 800 block, so we can all drive together.
Well, we want to go around the room and just.
So you're just on the other side of Glendale.
What is
You're
it?
on the other side of Glendale.
Yeah.
From me, yeah.
Yeah.
We're in the
In that
the-
modern house?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You
say it so
wistfully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no closets.
Yeah, the the second owners, so yeah, so it was designed by a landscape architect.
Oh, so you have quite a job then keeping the garden.
Yeah, where it's I've finally yeah. It's being recorded.
Sorry, I didn't mean to push a button there.
I'm surprised we got here. Glendale's closed, Elm is closed.
I rode my bike, so.
There you go.
Carpooling, bike riding.
Well, it was actually good for me because I was like, no traffic in front of the fire station. And so I could just drive right into the street.
Well, I guess let's go around the room, yeah.
Yeah,
Introduce
want
yourselves.
everybody go
I'm
around.
Rob Longstreet. I'm on Gray.
I'm Marilyn Bradley.
Should
Nice
we
to meet
tell
you.
her what our areas of the arts are interested in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a company that does our international artwork. I'm in galleries and I work with architects doing large scale projects.
Okay.
I'm an artist. I teach watercolor.
And you have a great show
You are-
right now.
You are sitting in front of an original.
Yeah, that's one behind it. Most of the in the hallway are a lot of mine.
And a past recipient of the Lifetime Achievement in the Arts Award because of Marilyn's many contributions, not just their one.
That's, yeah, it's a good introduction.
I teach.
Covers everything. My name is John Ahern. I'm a graphic designer.
I'm Jenny Starkey. I do PR and community engagement for the city, so I'm the staff liaison for the Arts Commission.
I'm Dottie Inglis. I'm a retired professor from Webster in theater costume design, and I'm still somewhat active as a costume designer.
And one of this year's awardees for the arts and education. So
That was sweet.
So are you with the
Very-
opera theater or the?
I was with,
theater?
well, the rep primarily,
Okay.
but then Shakespeare Festival.
She was also department chair.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, something fun.
Yeah, well, so, you know, this is why I had to stand tall.
Yeah, exactly. I am Laura Arnold, the mayor. I, like you, am a consumer of arts rather than a producer or knowledgeable on it. So that's my role.
And I'm Judy, I'm the senior curator for European Art 1800 at the Art Museum.
Okay, this is sort of an intimidating thing when you go around and do that, but they're all really nice people. I can vouch for them. But you are an intimidating group when you put all that out there.
I like the variety.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a fun, friendly, really warm group.
We also have Beth Corelli and Alex Elmstead who are on the group, but they couldn't be here today.
And Jan.
Janice-
Jan Shapiro, yeah. for sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
she's
then,
like,
and Janice Seeley is interviewing tonight, and then the commission will be full again, assuming she gets appointed. I find it hard to believe she will not be
Yeah.
appointed.
That's right. So that's great. Yeah.
Who was that again?
Janice Seeley.
Oh, great, okay.
She's background.
So to speak.
Okay. So, we got that taken care of, then we wanna, add in here, Mr. Ron Zager, who wants to make a presentation to us, and so we're gonna let him do that early and move along from there. Okay, Ron.
Good morning. Thank you for working me in. I'm Ron Zager. I've lived in Webster Grove since 1978. And the motivation, part of it anyway, for me being here today, let me ask you if you're familiar with Cooper Lane in Southwest Park, or Ambrose Way in Memorial, or Raynard Nevick Crossing on
Yes.
Rock Hill at 44.
Walk over.
The city of Webster Groves has named things, oftentimes short little stubby streets, after important people. And after the election last year, I mentioned to newly elected Mayor Arnold, I had this idea about honoring Jerry Welch. And there are two stubby little streets that you're probably familiar with, where Core and Kirkham intersect. And those are those little diagonal streets. And my thought was, put a street sign on those, as there is a Cooper Lane, which goes along the side of Hawken House, if you're not familiar with that. That's Cooper Lane.
Yes.
Ambrose cuts just south of Hickson through Memorial Park. But those two little streets are not Gore and they're not Kirkham, so they're lacking a name. And the city quite easily in their public works could make a street sign as they've done in the past. There's precedent there. And you guys are artists, so you're clever to come up with a name other than, Welch Way or something like that, Jerry's Sculpture Park. I saw Mayor Arnold a couple of months ago, and she said she thought this commission was also looking at the possibility of naming those two little parks after her. And I don't know what that process involves. It may be that you'd rather do that with a stone or some plaque with her name on it. But the street signs, I think, would be quick and easy and more visible for people driving by as they are in those other places in Webster Groves. So I just wanted to share that idea with you, one more thing to think about, and I don't know where you are on that. Let me know how it turns out.
That's a good idea, except that would be temporary because we're not sure what's going to happen down there. There's a possibility that those two might be blocked off or not. And it just have Brentwood by itself where you just turn, or somebody wanted to paint the streets, or
Well,
so it's all, that's what I'm saying, it's in the air.
absolutely, everything is temporary.
Yeah.
But even for a short time, and that's not to say you couldn't leave the signs up. If something changes, anyway, I don't want
Could
to
become a walkway.
Yeah. But anyway, I thought the signs are visible, the city has done it for the president. Public Works can make up the signs that we want and install them, I think at probably pretty low cost. Even with tight budget. So that's my idea. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Close the door on my way out.
Okay.
Thanks, Ron.
Make sure the sign is.
Okay. So, we've already discussed that that park was gonna be named, the sculpture garden named after. Mayor
Yeah.
Welch. I don't know if you wanna cover what's the next proceedings on that. Are we ready to make
So-
that?
No, the last I heard, members of this commission were meeting as members of the Recreation
Yeah.
Parks and Recreation
Yeah.
Commission to
Yeah.
formalize the process to get that done.
I
don't-
will reach out to Scott.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything since then.
Yeah,
Was anybody from our group?
I thought Patrick was gonna be one, so who were the people who were gonna meet?
Might have been.
I think it was Patrick and were you?
Well,
interested in
I could, I can
Okay.
call up Scott.
Okay, no, I mean, I'm happy to call Scott and.
Well, maybe the more the merrier.
Okay, he likes hearing from people.
Okay,
I would go with me
Yeah.
on that.
so I'll go too, if that's not overbearing.
I think just overpowering.
Yeah, right.
Well, and, you know, to do this right, also, he's got to invite some members of the Parks.
Yeah,
Committee.
yeah,
Yeah,
right,
so
yeah.
you wouldn't necessarily be over
Yeah.
him, you're meeting in numbers, whoever
Yeah,
comes from
yeah.
their commission.
I'm just thinking usually Scott takes over, so he tells everybody on his meeting what to do.
Apparently, that's changed a little bit.
That's good.
But no, I will reach out to him. I know that they with Mickey leaving, they were. Anytime somebody's been here like 30 years leaves, there's that. Oh, God.
Yeah,
So, but they've got all their positions filled now, so I think they're in this little quiet exhale before all the parade stuff starts in earnest, so we can get in there in that sweet spot.
Okay. So we'll wait to hear from you.
Yeah,
Okay, so next is a poetry month recap. I'm the only one here, Beth's not here, so it was hugely successful. I'm just, so no, Beth isn't here, so I can say that. No, it was pretty nice. I went to the haiku thing and there Beth was there and there was about 6 or 8 people. Jan Shapiro and I went to the poetry reading at Lambert Malone, and there was about, I would say, 18 people. I was not able to go to the singer-songwriter.
And I wanted to go, I was sick. that day.
Did you go?
No, I was sick, so. I
Right,
just-
and so anyway, I talked to Dave Buck, who had been there, and the only thing there is that Gary, the owner of there, he made an announcement from the stage, is anybody here from the Arts Commission? And nobody was there, so, you know, I think, but he did have 20 people there, so
I
I
had
told Dave, I said, well,
And then I was.
oh, there's Jan, welcome, Jan.
Yeah.
So I did tell Dave, I said, well, he can look at the, you know, it wasn't just somebody taking up a seat, it was all, you know,
Yeah.
true singer-songwriter. But anyway, that was the first time for that, and I felt bad I couldn't make it, but so I guess we could say it's a success, although I wasn't there. But I think what's come up is maybe people everybody on the commission try to spread the word when that happens and maybe make it at least a stop by and
Yeah.
whoever.
Just
can.
sign up.
Yeah.
Committees just sign up for a particular one to go to.
Well, that's a good idea to make sure at
So you
least
can
someone
plan
is
it out.
there.
So you
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
plan
and
it
then
out.
you're committed to, I had a
Yeah.
conflict because I thought that was such a great idea.
Mhm.
I loved it.
Well, I think, and they have other singer-songwriter things there. He did pick an awesome night,
Has the list
his
around
own
the
self.
meeting.
He
Yeah.
still had 20 people.
Okay.
So I think it was, overall, I would say it was a.
I went the Wednesday before, and I was like, there's nobody there. I had it on my it was on my calendar on the right day, I was just looking at it wrong, and then the next week I was just.
And then he's
sick.
never open on Wednesday night, so.
Yeah,
a lot of people,
obviously.
You know,
And the children's, how many people were at that? Was that?
I did not go to that.
Okay.
I thought she said, in the email, I thought
Yeah.
she said 6 or 9 or.
Yeah, best reporter.
Yeah, I tried to spread the word on that one through some of the Avery parent groups And of course, it's always like 1 week later, somebody's like, I missed it. When are you doing this again? I'm like, 2024. Next year, mark your calendar. Yeah,
And so we had some expenses that.
yes.
That Jenny had taken care of for us, so. Anyway, I guess it's, we'll repeat, next April. Look forward to it. Mark your calendars. I'm sure it'll be somewhat the same events. Okay. Lifetime achievement in the arts. We want to talk about some, suggestions for those recipients. You have any ideas?
Well, let's see, I'm thinking of just what we decided last time, that we had a list, right?
I was just curious, can you tell me what the Lifetime Achievement Award is, what the purpose of it is, where it's presented? Is it a fundraiser?
It's usually from the past, people have been famous or that are Webster Groves people, usually that live in the town. We've had artists, musicians, writers. And
Performers, theater people,
Oh, it's,
patrons. It was kind of, I think the germ of this idea was because we wanted people to be aware of what a strong tradition there was for the arts in Webster Groves, to really appreciate that. So to recognize people, and the first two were the two artists of these two paintings, Ernestine Betzberg on the left and her husband Arthur Osberg on the right. And so we sort of, that spurred us because we knew Arthur actually had died by the time we conferred the award. They were rather old, but major figures in the arts world. So that's kind of our first in 2008.
we had Troller and Boscia.
Yeah, we've had several visual artists, but we've run the gamut. Gerald Early, Washington University writer.
Peter Sargent was,
Yeah.
charged of all the lighting at the rep and conservatory of Webster University.
Mary Engelbright.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
The two men that set up the jazz, festival.
And Eugene Bradford.
So anything to do with the arts.
Yeah. And we
Okay.
do,
But it is not a fundraiser.
yeah.
And it has traditionally either been held at the rec center in one of the meeting rooms or a few times in the city
Yeah.
hall chambers.
It used to be here and then we've sort of moved and
Mhm.
the rec center looks much better.
Do the people attend? Does the awardee?
Yes,
attend?
it's open
Oh, yeah,
to the,
it's open.
We
Yes.
asked for a list of people from the awardee, and then we also invite sort of people involved in the arts. Yeah.
So we mainly look for people who've contributed to the arts.
Throughout
That's
the-
about it.
throughout
That
their,
would be likely to show up. Unless they're, yeah, unless they're deceased, in which case then not, but.
so now we're trying to discover a new recipient for this year.
And when is it, when is
Usually in
it?
October.
Yeah.
October?
Mhm.
I've been working, trying to get Jane Smiley, the novelist, who has now not answered 3 emails. And then I discovered I might have had a wrong email and I've written her again and heard nothing. So I think we have to give up on Jane Smiley.
Okay, is there any other people?
Did you try Cassidy?
Yes.
We have him
We
on the
were
list.
thinking
but we
of
have
Tom
not-
Cooper,
Yes, we were thinking of Tom Cooper.
just because he retired from the library.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think since it's a lifetime achievement in the arts, he was here, 17 years. I don't know what else he's done in the arts. I mean, he was
Well,
he's
I
not,
He's helped sponsor, like, not just the library, but he helped sponsor the gallery in the library.
Right.
We have the poetry reading there too.
Yeah, he's.
I'm
working
not
with
sure what
some
else, but they
things.
opened up the community center there where we never had a room before, where almost anybody can present something. That's just, so it's not just he was just a librarian.
I'm saying the fact, my only thing, I know Tom, met him, like him, everything. I'm just saying if you compare it to some of the other achievements in the arts or the other recipients is that, not that he shouldn't get a medal from the
Right,
city or something
right.
for everything he's done, but is it that level
Yeah.
of involvement, of a lifetime, like some of the other
Yeah,
people that
right.
we've had in this.
Well,
I wonder if we might think of the Finnerties. They funded a lot. They funded for the Barbary Park
Mhm.
and also for the sculpture parks and, you know,
Wow.
patrons of the arts. We did have 2 patrons before, right?
Mhm.
So I thought that might cement
For
the.
that matter, Janice Sealy.
Mhm.
She's
Join the
done
commission and we'll give you the
everything.
lifetime achievement awards.
I mean, she was once president of the Webster Arts. She was on the board for the symphony. She's an artist herself. She used to be on just about every committee in Webster. She's another one.
I like the idea of Castle just because it's lifetime achievement and it'd be, you know, but if for keeping notes, not for this year, but in the future, Carly Kloss would be another person to consider, so fashion arts.
Right, right. Well, Kesley also has had such an impact. I mean, you could say this is somebody who's really physically changed St. Louis. Yeah. That's
Carly
why-
Kloss, I think her organization is still business based in Webster Groves, because I
Oh,
think her
yeah.
mom is. So I remember that when we did the business license renewals.
And Carly's person, her not handler, kind of manager, is brought Diane von Furstenberg here about 3 months ago. So he's also a Webster Groves and he's very involved in the fashion industry.
Oh, we had Mayor Engelbrett also.
I suggest, what about Dan Martin, who just passed away? He was a lifelong musician, lived here, I think, pretty much his life.
Dan Stevens.
Yeah, Dan
And-
Stevens.
Dan Stevens, I said.
Yeah,
That was,
Oh, yeah, we were gonna put up Dan.
yeah, I mentioned him last month, and Jan and I were gonna try to get a contact with some, his wife or something.
I-
You had mentioned-
Yeah, and she was not ready to really speak about the theater. This is an entirely different
Yeah.
thing, so I certainly can give you contact information for her.
That'd be great.
Well, I would put him on. Then why say there's anything wrong?
Well, we got a nice,
oh, it's May.
yes.
Yeah.
Let's try to bring it
Process.
to
What's the process?
Very informal.
Yeah, they just kind of
Just
decide
sort of
here and then they
get
vote.
So if we decide who to go by, to go towards here today, or should we come in with some more contacts by June and make a decision, maybe narrow it down or something today?
Well, we never had a real actual month that we gave the lifetime achievement. At one time, it used to be in the spring. And then we
Yeah, it
had
was
the
February.
fall. And so I don't think we're really required to have such and such at a certain time.
Right.
No, but.
But just
it'd
given
be
the-
This would be nice in October, would be
Yeah.
nice to be deciding in
Right.
June or July.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
then-
you'd want to not get it too far into November, December because.
Right.
of all the
Holidays.
others. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, right. So October seemed good.
And I know it's always like. Passage, I was just trying to get all of the names and addresses and invite lists takes longer than you ever expected.
So we want to make some formal recommendations right now or nominations for this. Castle, you want? And
I recommend Dan Stevens. I think that he opened up his place for a lot of community things and seniors, for, a lot of music all the time. I think he would be, to me, even though he passed away, would be a really great candidate for this year's award. And we could talk to his wife and go
if
from
they're
there.
involved, if nothing else, if we did do that, they would be involved with the ceremony.
Yeah.
If they thought
To
favorably
speak.
about it, it might be.
Yeah, could you do that? with people
Yeah,
to
you
speak
need to
about,
have people. Yeah, so I was just thinking for Castle, I like that idea.
yes.
Josephine and Dick Weil had he did this garden adjacent to their house at Carswald, and they kind of invite anybody who wants to come. I mean, obviously get us there, but it's fabulous. And I think, I mean, Castley, the city museum is
Yeah.
one of our
Yes.
great attractions now, and that was his.
It's a given, I mean, sooner or later we needs to be.
Yeah, right. It may be thinking time wise, it might not need to be this year, but definitely.
I think the conversation needs to start.
I think in a way, it's like a no-brainer. Yeah, because he's such an impact person. Then again, why, hasn't it been already earlier? You know what I mean? In other words, other people. Since then.
Well, we're.
Cause it's like
far
something
ones
so
who
in your
have
face
the-
that you don't see.
So we have two then, or does anybody else wanna?
So for a process, I recommend voting on like a first, who we ideally would want to give the award, but then maybe also voting on a second as a follow, just so that we can, by like the next board meeting, so and so hasn't responded, then we just move on to the second person to keep it going along.
Cause who has do you have a connection with with his family that you?
I can talk to Josephine. I know
Okay.
she knows a lot of those people and his wife and things. Yeah. So, and obviously we have several ties to Dan Stevens.
Yeah.
So should we just vote on the two, take 2 rounds?
Yeah, is there anybody
Someone-
else who wants to? Be in? Yeah, we can just vote on now. So, everybody.
So a nomination for the number 1 tier.
Or can we just go around the room and say which of the 2 you think should be this year's, right, starting that way and see where we are.
Okay, I'll start. I'll be for Dan Stevens.
I'll go for Dan Stevens too. Because that's also historical.
I don't know who Dan Stevens is.
He owned the Ozark Theater.
Oh, okay.
And when we first started this, he was a lot more, he was coming over here a lot and talking to us. He had visions for his Ozark Theater, which never were filled, but they were to a certain point where he had musical.
Well, we had visions. We've always
Yeah.
wanted an arts center, a practice space, a performing space. So we were hoping that we could set it up, but we really did not have the means to do it. He
Mhm.
wasn't prepared to fund an ongoing enterprise, and we didn't have the money to undertake the management of that space. So, but he ultimately did open it up.
I'm fine with Dan Stevens, but I want Castle.
Yeah. Do you wanna put your vote in? for-
Castle Lee.
Okay.
So we have, okay,
Castley and then Stevens.
Castle.
Castle.
It's like Castle.
And then we just need.
Jan's chair vote,
I'll vote for her.
Stevens, yeah, so.
so it's 3-4, looks like. So Cassidy's.
Yes, we would be good.
So by next month, we have to we'll have him solidified or something, so then we can decide if
Yeah,
that's not working with Cassidy, then we'll try the other, okay? And you'll have that reflected.
Yay.
Movement.
We did something.
I'm gonna go have coffee.
Okay. So we've handled that. Next is the banners. Alex is,
He's not here.
Not
He
here,
said that he
did he
was, slammed and he is gonna be prepared to talk about the banners in June. He said that he'll made the changes in system on that with the banners that you might see on the street. I don't know if there's even some directly out here that say City of the Arts. They're kind of fading and old, and so we need new ones. And so we're thinking for the new ones that they would say like City of the Arts and then feature different arts organizations on them. So it'd be like City of the Arts Opera Theater, City of the Arts Rep, City of the Arts Conservatory, to have them all, even some events like City of the Arts Jazz Fest. And Alex is coming up with a form where we could approach those businesses and see if they would be willing to pay to be featured in them. That would help kind of pay for some of the costs of the banners. So the city's not completely fronting it, since it's a little bit of advertising for them as well.
I for the first time I noticed this, the flag that has the like the Victorian house on it. Is that new? There's one in front of Straub's.
Oh, those are, I think those are,
Are they business
Repeat
district
things,
ones,
aren't
or, yeah, I know that.
they have one with fireworks too. and
Yes.
another-
Oh, okay.
There's
Who
ones
did-
with the
I was just
business-
wondering who designed those.
I'm not
those
sure
are-
who designed them, yeah.
That's done by the company, I think. It's just like a stock.
Okay.
Yeah, the business districts I know pay for those, and I know Old Webster has a designer, pretty much, who does a lot of their stuff,
Right.
so I'm not sure if she did, the woman who owns Kind Soaps has a background. in that,
Okay, well,
because
that
that's
could
what
make sense. Yeah.
she does a lot of their, like, anytime you see the maps for like Walktoberfest or the Christmas
Yeah.
shopping, she's
I
done
just thought it
that.
was charming.
Yeah, so she's done those, and then Old Orchard has some as well, so those we wouldn't be able to move, but we did get the numbers for how many Webster Arts banners there are around town, and there was way more than we thought.
Yeah, it was like, well,
So how many?
Yeah, how many?
It's
Yeah.
like 24 in Old Webster
call
and
the city
12 in Old
banners.
Orchard.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, which is like, it's kind of funny that there's less in Old Orchard where more of the arts organizations are. But we figured nobody would be upset if like they're an arts organization's advertising on all the nice restaurants and stuff that people go to before they go
So you
to
said 24 and
Old Webster,
Webster.
and then like 12 in Old Orchard.
hmm.
So.
One recommendation for the form would be. Businesses may want to have ideally certain locations, so pricing based
They
on
could make
location.
a preference and we would
Yeah.
hopefully be
Yeah.
able to follow it, but. no
Yeah, part of the
promises.
problem is where these banners are displayed. We don't control all of the sites. Some of the organizations. Like Webster University controls a number of those sites, so ideally, I think some of the placement where they would want to go is gonna be hard for us to fulfill. Which is, so that's the,
Yeah.
if we
preference.
can, we
Yeah.
will. Rather than saying, okay, you can have this particular one.
How much is it worth to you?
Yeah, well, that's the point, yeah.
Yeah, and there's some like, I mean, obviously, Upland Theater would be able to afford more than like Webster Theater Guild, so we. That's kind of one of those things that's up in the air, we have to figure out,
You mean the little, what's your theater, the little,
the little house theater.
I think that they almost as a charity need to, yeah, be given a really great price because
Yeah,
nobody really knows about them. They're so stuck in the
we
middle
would
of.
go on field trips in high school for drama club, and it would always be so much fun, 'cause it was like this tiny little theater, we saw like.
It's
Street
so
Party of
hidden,
Desire
it's
and
so
Real
hidden.
Yeah,
So embedded in
Oh,
the
yeah.
Nashville.
But we haven't talked about it too much, but you can have a scholarship
Mm-hmm.
program for that too. People would donate money and then, we could,
yeah,
you know.
Because, yeah,
reduce
something
rate.
like that is like a little, what. We could just be like Webster treasures.
yeah,
Well, that's a whole different idea though, which is actually not bad.
Yeah.
Webster
That's
treasures,
wonderful,
that'd be
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Cause we do have these like kind of strange, they're not strange, these kind of like perfect little
can say
treasures.
yeah.
Yeah, that are just kind of like hidden in
I've
the
always,
woods.
like, my dream for that place was like, if it ever went for sale, and if I ever win the lottery, I would buy it and then put myself in every play. It didn't even matter, and that I can't really act, but it would be like Annie starring, but you don't even know. You'd be like, why is Annie a 50-year-old woman? Like, don't ask questions, just enjoy it.
Webster treasures sounds like.
There was a banner program available. You can even get your picture on there.
Sounds like a great project for the Webster Kirkland Times. Start doing a Webster.
Once it
treasures.
gets up there, area,
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
because everybody just contributes and they never have money.
Yeah,
But the thing that's so interesting about it is that how. Like ambitious they are,
Mhm.
like they're doing 7-year extra. And you go into the first floor, they do like cookies and lemonade as their intermission. And then, but what's so interesting about that is you go through and they have pictures that go all the way back to like the late 50s, or I'm not sure
Yeah.
when they started.
I remember when I got here in '79, and people would tell me all about they just seem to have a much bigger profile, kind of, you know, the community back when I first arrived here.
Well, the competition is fierce. I
Well,
read
yeah.
some.
I went to Stray Dog, no, yeah, Stray Dog Theater, and it's really great.
Well,
So
there's a
that's
lot
like,
more-
that
there's a lot
is
more
it on
smaller theaters.
steroids.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more smaller theaters now
Right.
than there were
Right.
then.
And I think maybe it was in this group we talked about that St. Louis, that I think the metropolitan region has more theaters per capita than any other city in the United States. So it is a big theater town.
It is.
I still can't get cast as Annie.
You went right home.
Too tall.
You just need to rewrite it, just rewrite a script and just be like.
That's right, it's Annie, the sort of sequel.
Yeah. 2.0.
Annie too.
There's the prequel, the sequel, the
Afterlife.
yeah, I was waiting for Netflix to, because I think Annie is like one of the biggest Broadway shows ever, like biggest moneymaker,
Oh, yeah.
which is really interesting. I didn't know.
Tomorrow.
Cats.
Yeah, tomorrow.
And yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, Netflix
Those
hasn't put
costumes
their
are
hands
hard.
on it yet.
oh, I'm
They're
sure.
really hard to do. They're really easy to do that.
That was my first show
Just
I
gonna
ever
say
saw
that
at the
out loud.
box, and I was like, what is this? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah, that's a lot of yak here.
What are you talking
Cats.
The costumes for cats.
Yeah.
Did you see the movie? I
Yes.
just saw.
Oh, I had,
Oh, yeah.
that was that animation gone creepy.
Yeah,
phase.
yeah, that's
That
a good way to describe
my
it.
It
yeah.
was not, it didn't sit well with me. It was,
I don't think
Or
it-
Judy Dench.
Right.
well, when the Webster Theater Guild does cats, well, I'll have to
Oh, we
take
have
the
to
Arts
do a field
Commission
trip.
field trip and make sure that we go see that.
about? Oh my god.
I can tell you the first.
Well, it's an opportunity, whoever wants to try breaking into the theater.
You do realize this is on tape, but I would like to see stuff.
Still stand by my opinion.
Right.
Your pacing is fine, breaking and entering, I'm a little worried about.
Better than a sheet in the backyard.
So is there any other miscellaneous updates?
I mean, budget, we're doing the department presentations tonight. We've kind of asked for the same amount that we have in the past, and I did say. Give me an extra 1,000 for banners, so we'll see if that.
It's in there, it's in the
there,
draft,
Yeah,
but
so we'll see.
So how much is the total about
Um,
we're asking for?
I don't
it
remember
comes out to
that.
like
often.
2,500, like I think we get like 1,500 for like, the lifetime achievement and then any kind of little. Extra things that we need throughout the restrooms, I know that we pay for the, is it Piano Fest?
Okay.
I say the Johnny of the spots.
And how are we doing on spending our money for the labels and the sculpture part?
We should be fine on that. For that, it's just, I'm the holdup, but we definitely have the money before the end of June. I need to do it. I just need to actually create. So we need to have somewhere for the QR codes to go. So I need to create little individual web pages for each of those pieces of art. And I know that Beth gave me the information and stuff. It's just a matter of me sitting down in front of the computer and creating those so that I can then create the QR codes that can go on the signs. But I should be able to get that done before end of June.
When is Piano Fest? I'm sorry.
You know, this is always, isn't it like August? I
Yeah,
believe like
and then are we
mid-August.
doing there's the other one in July?
The Bur Oak.
Yeah,
That's usually organized by like a third party or something.
I was just wondering if it's still going on.
Walter Park.
I think the parks do, I mean,
When
they,
did they
they
Yeah.
should start.
start? Yeah.
But weren't we somehow part of it, like we were volunteering?
We
or-
just,
They came to talk
Supported
to
it.
us last year and I think we did. I know I
Yeah.
volunteered.
Yeah, I
I
just-
volunteer.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was two years ago, I volunteered.
Right,
Last year I did not.
And I didn't either, but it still was
Right.
held.
So I think that I did talk to him very briefly and they were interested in it, but it was a money, situation. Because they took on the whole thing. So I didn't hear any more. He had ideas to have it and he was gonna talk to the.
So we don't know
Well,
if it's
but he never
going, we don't know if it's going to go on.
I haven't heard, I would.
I have not
assume
heard
so,
either.
But yeah, they seem to like to do it, and I know that last year they came and talked, and they talked about like maybe a few more food trucks, like they had some ideas of what to
Right,
do
yeah,
differently for next year. Food trucks, I guess, worked out well, but they're hoping to get more, from what I remember.
Well, I'm just wondering
Yeah.
in case. to, if they want to do it and they have ideas that they
Yeah.
should talk to us sooner than
Like now.
later. Yeah, like now or June, you know, like somebody could can you contact them?
I'll give him a call. I got his
Just,
number. but
yeah, I mean, just not to say you gotta do it, but
No, no,
like,
just ask him.
if you need help or you need something,
And we
Yeah.
had openings at the last time I talked, so I don't know, we all filled with Janet and we're filled with our.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah,
thinking of
that
him.
should be filled. And so with Piano Fest.
I mentioned to his wife, you know, that we had openings, and maybe she needs to consider, and she was already looking into another.
yeah, they'd be perfect.
Commission,
Okay.
parks or something. I'm not sure.
Piano Fest, I could just check in with Silverman and see if that's something that I'm assuming. I mean, I feel like it's hugely popular and they like doing it. So, but I would assume so, but I'll see if I can. I feel like the hardest thing for that one is they're really great musicians. They're not super great event planners because I remember last year I couldn't figure out like what time does it start? Like is it 6:30? Is it 7? Is it
I couldn't
7:30?
yeah, when I volunteered one year, I was like, okay, I'm here an hour early.
Yeah, so if I can pin down the details of that.
I think
Yeah.
Patrick took care of that.
I think so. Like, I think Patrick would come in
And
and,
Jerry.
yeah,
both
and be
of
like, when is this, when does it start? Like, when should we tell people to arrive? And then when does the music start? Because I think I heard last year that they were like, okay, well, should we start? People are here. Like, it wasn't just kind of very haphazard,
Yeah, casual.
casual.
They recently had a first amateur art show at Macaugan and Burr.
Oh,
Yeah, that sounded really festive.
It was nice. I went and I.
I didn't know.
Was that
happening.
inside?
What'd you say?
They hang the work.
Oh, yeah.
The people who run
I just
Macau
know
and
about
Burr
that.
could always be on the list sooner or
Yeah.
later. If we can't, because I mean, they've been around for
Yeah.
how many years?
Well, they first
Yeah.
went for the Mississippi.
I mean, I think it's a very. Yeah.
Someone from there stopped by here and I had it, and she sends me events every so often to put on the calendar. But I feel like they definitely want to get more involved between that and everything else they do. They're very busy.
Well, it was.
No, I mean, as somebody to give an award to.
Oh, yeah.
Because, yeah, they've just.
I have to,
Their own little gallery.
they are wonderful in many ways. They have ruined more paintings. Seriously.
Yeah, I don't think
They're,
they're.
yeah, they're not.
I don't know,
Yeah.
So
okay.
I just.
You know-
And that's hard to give.
The restoration is not-
Great things,
The
yeah.
restoration is noted not to be where it was.
Yeah.
But it was a very successful show. We emptied out like 1.5 galleries and filled them in there. And also the next week it was front page in the Webster Kirkland
Yeah,
Times.
now there's a nice
The young
article.
girl, the young woman.
Well, I think this is it. Scott's not doing it anymore. His daughter is.
Uh-huh.
And I think they're just changing the whole, way of
The focus. of
You know more than
getting
me,
involved
because
in
I didn't know
today.
the service. I just know that.
No, as a gallery, as a presence, it's, many things, they're wonderful, but I just have to say, knowing that, it's.
Oh, it's odd.
Yes, and we had the first gospel fest here too. I did not go to it, so I don't know how that was.
I saw a picture, it looked like it was pretty well attended.
I wanted to ask, there was some time ago, this commission spent a lot of time working with the Crossroads Business District
Mhm.
about their decision to have a piece of public art. Is that dead now, or is that just, there's been enough turnover on
I
that
think there's a turnover with,
and they're no longer interested?
I think that there's turnover in that group. There's also, we have worked with St. Louis County. As I understood it, the piece of public art was gonna go right at the intersection. There, in part because of the number of students now walking to Hickson as a sixth grade moved over there. St. Louis County is reconfiguring the intersection and they're doing to make it more pedestrian friendly.
There was
And so
a person
part-
killed there too. right?
Well, I don't, not recently.
No,
Yeah,
maybe
but
2 years ago
okay.
or something like that.
But there have been accidents there and there have, and so I think another kind of contribution to this is we don't quite know what that intersection is gonna look like yet because the engineering plans haven't come forward. I think it's scheduled, Jenny, do you know, 26?
I think so.
Fiscal year 26 is the,
Yeah.
so we're a couple of years from that.
Okay.
And so it may just be on hold until they understand where
Right.
maybe something
Right.
could go.
I heard one time they were gonna make a roundabout there.
Yeah.
I thought-
We talked about it. There's not enough room.
I'm saying I couldn't imagine this,
Yeah.
but they're doing it in the city, very small, they're pulling everything real tiny in the middle. And it looks like it works pretty good, but I don't know.
Yeah,
You
this,
have to worry about, well, we always think about this is trucks, can they actually?
That's interesting they're doing it in the
navigate
city,
this?
because there's huge complaints about people's driving and
Well,
accidents.
Oh, it's
here too, by the way. It's not just here.
Yeah.
My intersection was last week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your intersection is on the radar.
Red
Plus,
lights,
the
people go
businesses have
crazy.
changed, so.
Yeah,
and
Crossroads,
They're the
yeah.
ones that
Yeah,
support the
Crossroads changes
crossroads, so.
too.
Yeah, but it sounds like
They
it's
don't
a
know us.
project
Yeah.
for several years from now.
I think that's fair.
but it would I did meet with, on the poetry thing with the guy at Digital Strike, and he was very interested in getting the word out about Poetry Month, so it seems like he would be a good, if we
Yeah,
did. these sort of
he
things.
is very active, he's the one who spearheaded the pickleball tournament that they had in the streets and so I think I think they are gonna wanna go back to it also because not only intersection, but across in front of the businesses, they're gonna reconfigure some of the traffic and give it a little bit of a road diet, but provide some areas also for just more attractive store, the sidewalk part, the street lights and things like that. And so I think it'll be ready for a piece of art at some point. The question is just when and what does that look like based on availability of location?
And Bagel Union, and also there's a barber shop,
Yeah.
so there's two new retail,
Yeah,
there's
They go
more
in
people
spot
there,
crazy for the traffic.
no place to park.
yeah, apparently, so I haven't tried them yet. Are
I
they as
have.
good as they're supposed to be?
It's good,
Uh-huh.
and what's interesting is just the amount of people that, it's like if you go on a Saturday, you just expect to wait at least a half an hour.
So I was gonna say, my tip
No.
is to go
I've
and
gone,
lunch.
and
like on
it's
a
been
Thursday at
about
lunch,
half an
no
hour
one's
every
there.
time you go. Before it was more than, it could have been
Yeah,
40
so I got,
minutes.
like,
I would
the
have, what I do is I
overlooks
take a
and-
number and then I walk the strip of Schnucks and pick up a few things, and then I come back. And then there's still a few people ahead of me, but at least
Cause I've driven by, there's no more a line.
there's no line, but when you get into the store, it's stuffed
Really?
with people.
You can see them in the windows when you go by. I haven't tried it.
No, and that's what I said, I try to, like a Thursday at lunch, like is a good
Yeah.
time to go, because hardly anybody. I
But
have
they'll
people
run
waiting
out
for
of
me.
sin that I like. They have like a pumpernickel kind of thing that's really good to put your lunch on, and then they have a really good cinnamon raisin, but they run out of their cinnamon
See, I
raisin.
got like the bagel and lox.
Yeah,
The cherry one
It's
is
outstanding.
phenomenal.
Really,
Just
for one,
absolutely
one thing,
phenomenal.
yeah, well,
Bagel.
yeah.
Shall we vote on bagel and walk?
so no, but it does bring a lot of traffic to that area, and I think it will help
Yeah,
the storefront,
yeah.
the traffic to that storefront area. So,
And the barber shop looks great, but, I don't know whether you park for a barber. There's only, each building only has about 2 spots or 3
There's that
spots in
lot
back.
like off, like what's that side street? Is it great? No.
No, it's
Elma?
Alma.
Yeah, there's a
Elma.
little lot on Elma.
Yeah, the lot gets bigger near when you get back there, the back lot.
Yeah.
But I know, the other buildings only have 1 or 2 assigned places. So is there any other new business that we, talked everything out here pretty much?
You mentioned a calendar. Is that the city calendar?
And there's the city meetings calendar and then there's a community events calendar.
is there already the historic?
You
We're
can see it
gonna-
when you go to Webster
his-
Smell, it's like 2
making
tabs.
the-
Probably
Or
find
the
there.
theater into
So
a
the-
historic building, has
The
that
community
meeting already
calendar
happened?
lists the
Not
arts
tonight.
events that
it
This
has
group
That's a good point.
engaged.
Yeah,
with.
and it lists
So the
whatever
two
is.
conversations going on here at once.
Oh,
It has not, HPC didn't meet
Have
in
you been on
April,
the
so they're
website
meeting
yet for Webster Grove
in May.
and all the different departments? Because even with the lifetime achievement, there's a section there that lists all of them and also the reasons they were listed.
Mhm,
So I just thought, just for perusal,
mhm.
that might be good.
So,
The mayor was
Thank you.
mentioning about the historical.
Yeah, so.
Information, what's next, or can we do
Well,
something there?
somebody, actually, last meeting, I thought somebody here volunteered to go to the
I think we
HBC
did.
meeting,
Yeah.
yeah.
yes.
We did.
And I don't think they met in April, so I think they're,
And I do know Mara is pulling together the history of that building and like what's been done as far as any kind of
Friends-
historical
friends,
preservation or
grandmother
anything like
did
that.
the
It's just a matter of the
movie
planning
theater.
department is
yeah. So
pulling it all
there.
together.
What?
You saw Jaws?
Rob and
I saw my first movie, 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah.
So what are
yeah,
they- are
we
they
can
on
for sure. If I
Wednesday?
can
Is
get
that
that
right?
stuff from Mara, then I'll share it with you ahead of time. But if not, then yeah.
So you're interested in going to that?
Well, if I'm going out of town May 13th or 15th, and I'm gonna be gone for 3 weeks. so-
It's on May 9th at 6:30 in this room.
May 9th at 6:30.
Okay, I can't make that.
Right next to the cocktails and container gardening at the annex.
What?
There's
It's
an
not
event
here?
At the annex, on their patio in the back, cocktails and container gardening.
Nice.
The
When
historic-
Do they make the?
No, it's
cocktails in
it's
container
the day after, so on Wednesday you go historic preservation, Thursday you go make a container garden and have a cocktail.
And who's putting that on?
Some outside organization. It is like $75 a ticket. It covers the cocktails and all the supplies for your container garden.
But you might want to look at that because that's on the city calendar, business meeting calendar.
Okay, I will do that. Too many calendars.
And who's supporting that? Who's putting that on?
Oh, I don't know.
You can just,
You
for
just-
the
as long
community
as-
calendar, you
yeah.
can submit things.
long as
Oh,
something's
okay, I
in
was like,
Webster
we're
Grove.
doing it?
No, we're not.
As long as something takes place in Webster Groves, I can put it on the community. So, if people send it to me, I don't have the time to go looking at. Everybody's outside.
I just had a thing here that showed during this, everybody saw this, I guess, in the,
They came in our mail, didn't it?
yeah, or much.
Oh, for people.
It was in that insertion thing, but anyway, be something to aspire to, this is, I was looking, they could waste the whole thing, you could have sponsors here, who would pay for it. I don't know how much it would cost, or if we could do one in the Webster Kirkwood Times. This was in that coupon mailer that you get. And it actually was cut. I had to put a piece of scotch tape on it, which was through that process, but they had three of I guess their art things, one's non-art, and but it could be all art from Webster, and City of the Arts, and really,
That's
push it,
good,
and
yeah.
keep it good for a whole year. So we could center it.
Well, I just photographed it with my phone.
Yeah.
I just photographed that picture with my phone.
So if it was going for, you could, it would be also a place to put the lifetime achievement in the arts person who won that year, a little. blurb.
Yeah.
And leave the other side, again, attached to us as Webster, with sponsors. We carve them up, however, we'd see how much it would cost. So. I would be glad to go and see what something like this would cost at the Webster Kirkwood Times, as a starting point.
I love it. They're still printed.
Hmm?
I love putting things that are printed.
Yes, I
You know.
It's a diet.
Yeah.
I still think, this is a perfect, also, back in the day when I put stuff on the refrigerator, this was a perfect.
You could
thing.
design a better.
No, yeah, this is pretty good. But they had another
People found their
interesting
way
thing here, they
around
just have a,
refrigerators.
just an overall nothing thing, it's called Wandering
How do you do
Wednesdays,
Hmm.
and,
They're on the side.
it's
My
just
oven,
walk around
My
and.
microwave.
Well, also, you could think of it, maybe consider a partnership with the business districts. 'Cause they have their own
Yes.
events, gazebo series could be on there,
Well, that's what I was
Politics,
thinking,
yeah.
but pull back if you wanted to do that, I would be perfect if somebody just wanted to, like the business district for two of them.
So we have three.
I don't think Crossroads.
We do.
Crossroads has its own, but they wouldn't be up for something, there's not that much going on,
Yeah,
but
they-
they might,
maybe pickleball, maybe wants
They
to
know
be
the
on there.
pickleball table is in the market.
Can we set our next meeting? Because I have.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that would be when?
June sixth, does that work for folks?
I don't think I'm. I don't think I'm gonna be there.
Sixth. Well, and I'll check with Alex and Beth and see, and if we have a quorum, then we'll meet, if not, then we'll send an email out and make sure,
On this date?
on the sixth, yeah,
I think that's the day I'm
I'll
flying
be here.
back, so
okay.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to make that
Okay.
meeting.
Anybody else have a conflict that day?
Very good.
And we'll have a new, and Jane, she will be on board. then.
Did everybody, we'll have a new one probably next month then, but the contact list?
Yes.
Thank you for that.
No problem.
I love content lists. They make me so
I understand why, because then you're.
Even
Oh,
names.
right, so then I guess, shall we adjourn?
I know.
9:25.
All right.
So.
Bye, Jan. Have a good day.
Oh, wonderful.
Thanks, everybody. John,
I found out the
John-
person that was making all.
John,
those-
Jan, trying to talk to
There
you.
was so.
John,
many
do we
students
have,
there.
or do you have the number of Dan Stevens'
Guinness,
wife? Or
And then
does,
also, the people that were retiring.
No, we.
Yeah.
Right,
So
and just had never been to. the
I can get you
city.
contact information for
But when
Margaret.
I think you were gone, Jan, when we voted, and so Bob Castley is the first choice between.
Yeah. We passed your vote for Dan.
Mhm.
That's who you wanted.
oh,
Dan is second choice right now, so they're gonna go after
Summer.
Castley. If there's no response, then we'll vote for Dan.
Okay.
And my vote would be,
We'll be
you
ready.
know, yeah, and I am
Well,
gonna
it's
be,
ridiculous.
I'm gonna be flying from Amsterdam to here, so.
Okay, see you next month.
Yeah.
It sounds like a very nice, okay,
Well, we'll see.
okay, bye, Jan.
Bye, Jan.
Bye.